Dirt Tracks is sponsored by Polaris, think outside. Can-Am, time for some off-road living. And by Yamaha, revs your heart.
The sport of rodeo is full of great people, very patriotic people. Rodeo, it's 8 seconds about my life. The rodeo career for me, I don't know anything else. This is it. I've made my living since I was 14 years old riding bucking horses. It's been a way of life for so long. I've been extremely blessed with a durable body and the knowledge on how to win. There's a lot of variables that go into rodeo to win. (2008, 2009) happened fast. I was winning a lot. I wasn't quite to the world championship standard that I needed to be at with capabilities in the arena. But in 2010, I had the opportunity to go overseas to Afghanistan and visit the troops. That was a humbling experience for me. I grew up a lot going and seeing that, and came back in 2010 in June with a little different attitude. I learned how to train instead of just work out. Strict workout programs, dieting. And then I really started believing in myself that I could be a champion. I went to the NFR in 2010 and was really close to winning a world title. Messed up one spur lick for half a second, and that cost me the title. And then 2011, broke a lot of records, arena records, went into the NFR, set the average record on 10 head total, won a truck, won the world title. Was on cloud 9. I got on a heater there from 11 to 2014. I won 4 world titles. First person to ever do it 4 in a row and win the NFR average. The NFR title was the champion over the 10 days of our championship in Vegas. Really had to dig deep in 2020 when COVID hit, because there wasn't a lot of rodeos. There was a lot of things shut down. So then I rodeoed really hard, and I won the world in 20 and 21, and it was like a second opportunity to show appreciation to the people that have been in my corner, been on my team. Polaris has been a key factor into my family life. Some of my greatest memories with my kids are a camp trip, taking our Polarises and going up in the mountains. There's so many little things and key factors that the Polaris brand has been a part of in my life that, it's made work easier, it's made vacation funner, but the whole time, there's a lot of things that come from just having the Polaris on the ranch and being able to use it, whether it be work or camp trip or hunting. And they've been a part of crucial moments in my family's life. First thing in the morning, from down to the house, it's a couple hundred yards. I jump on the wheeler, or if it's wintertime, I go out and start my Ranger and turn the heater on. Good amount of time to warm it up and come down and go to the gym. As far as work though, I use it to grain the horses every morning. They're gonna come back. I use my Polaris machines. I use my Ranger and my Sportsman every single day, whether it be hauling tools out to the wheel line to fix the mover, the 5-horse motor, or going up to the pivot and adjusting the valves on the pivot. I change irrigation. I don't know if this is a curse or a blessing, but I don't like to pay people to do things that I'm capable of. A lot of A lot of leaks this summer. I don't know if they were because I hit them with the excavator, but it seemed like the Rangers were covered in mud this year in the tools, and we used them a lot.
Dirt Tracks is sponsored by Hercules Tire. Ride on our strength.
When I was young, my daddy said, gotta keep one eye open in your bed. 'Cause there's a time coming when the devil gonna come for you. So my trigger fingers stay prepared. I've got my weapon and I got my prayers. 'Cause if you don't run this town, they'll walk all over you.
Life gets crazy. I live in a really rodeo central area, and so there's always cowboys coming through and spending time at the house, and me and my wife don't necessarily get the time that we need together, and one of the tools I guess you could say that I have to keep a happy marriage is my razor, and I get to buckle her in and scare the shit out of her.
You ain't gonna outrun me.
We get to have a moment to ourselves, and we go up on the mountain. We're lucky where we live. There's beautiful rides all over, and we might not say much to each other for a long time, but we'll go for a good 20-30 mile ride and just turn the machine off and look at the views and just talk about our kids and sit there in the Polaris and just conversate in peace and unplug for a little while. Just 30 minutes to be with my wife without any distraction, without any cell phone, without any radio, is a very helpful tool for me and my wife. It's very recognizable when me and her don't have our time that we need together. But if I can go start the Polaris up, whether it be my razor, my Sportsman, or my snow machine, it's a way that me and my wife can escape the worldly things and unplug and unwind and have some time to ourselves. Being a father now, it's one of my favorite things in the whole world. I love being a dad. My dad, he was my hero. He was a true champion. When he was out, he was very tough guy, very durable, and everything that he did, he did it with perfection. Very humble, very quietly. The things that, if someone come to me and said, what did your dad say to you to help you become a world champion? It's like, well, have fun and enjoy life, and whatever task is in front of you, you do it with dignity. And he never really said that, but he showed us all the time. My dad shaped us to be champions from when we were young. I remember I was 3 years old riding a horse, and he'd come up along me, and I was like, I'm Lewis Field, I'm a world champion. He said, you are, 100% you are, and you can be. And then we'd lay in bed and, hey, you're the best, you're the greatest. You're a leader, you're gonna be able to do whatever you want when you grow up. You keep a positive attitude. You got bucked off that pony today and you got right back up on. Life won't slow you down. If you can do that, you can do anything. So from a very young age, we were taught to be brave and nothing was not to be fearful of anything. That all came from a humble cowboy that just loved life.
Dirt Tracks is sponsored by Princess Auto. Make it work.
Nowadays, being a father, I've got 3 kids. My oldest, Chamberlain, almost 11 years old. My little boy, 8. My little girl that's 5. And I catch myself all the time thinking, what would my dad do in this situation? I'll go have a moment to myself, whether it be go up on the mountain for a quick ride in the buggy on my Polaris or a horse ride. I need some time to myself to think, and I'm going to pray about it, and I'm going to ask for help, because there's distraction in these days in this world that are easy to learn or to lose focus on what's important. Yeah, so my kids are at a very fun age right now. My oldest daughter, she's always been into horses since she was a little girl. She wanted to ride. Probably the past 6 months we've been playing with a rope on the ground and roping the dummies on the ground. And about 2 months now we've been riding her horse buggy, and she's been riding the sled around, roping that sled. And my job is to sit there on the Sportsman and go in circles after circles after circles and get her rope off. But just that time that I have with her for a few hours in the evening, and she's with her horse and watching her really love what she is doing and loves her horse and the responsibilities that horse has taught her. And it's a very special time for us, and just to turn the machine off, turn the Polaris off, and sit there and just conversate about what we're doing, and you know, don't worry about the little stuff. Just focus on the things that matter and things that, you know, make you better. And it's a blast. And then my little girl, she loves horses and hucks. My little boy, they'll come out, and it's a fun time that I get to have with my kids. And the Polaris is, you start the engine, that's the start of the night, you know, and that's where it all begins, and it's a special time for me. So that's something too, is like 8 seconds there's a lot going on in that 8 seconds, and that's when I perform the best. The busier that I can stay outside the arena, I perform my best. And so when I'm at home, I've got a lot going on. I like to get up and get a workout in, and that's when I'm hurting and sore, especially in season. It's the toughest task of the day. I like to accomplish that, and then I like to accomplish my toughest phone calls, whether that be a business decision, a big call for Power Pro, or wore bonnet cowboy hats, you know. I like to get those things done, and then over to the office over in Springville to KTK Fulfillment. I spend a lot of time over there, and then come home. If I have time, I like to ride a few horses, but I like to be home when my kids get home off the bus. And then the rest of the day, if I have accomplished all of my business goals and to-do list that day, it's 100% from 3 o'clock, 3:30, whenever the kids get home, until they go to bed. Then spend time with my wife, have a little alone time with her, and call it a day. You know, from a young age, I knew I wanted to be a rodeo cowboy, and I knew it was a short-lived career. And so I've been preparing myself for a while now for life after rodeo. Obviously, I didn't start early enough. There's a lot of things I wish I would have accomplished, you know, being old and wise now, I guess you could say. But it's time for me to, you know, I feel that it's time for me to stay home and focus on my family. And then I want to continue the lifestyle that I've lived. I want to be able to put my kids on the bus and pick them up when they come home off the bus, and everything after that will fall into place. But my number one goal is my kids every day.
DIRT TRAX has been sponsored by Kawasaki. Let the good times roll. MBRP Performance Exhaust, built for the victory lap. And by Mad Ramps. Leave the trailer and go.
It doesn't matter if you love or hate Polaris, you absolutely cannot deny that they have pushed the boundaries of innovation and technology in the side-by-side industry beyond levels we have ever seen, and in turn driven their competition to respond by pushing those boundaries even further. This has brought us some of the most impressive side-by-sides we've ever seen, way beyond what we would ever have been able to imagine a mere 7 or 8 years ago. Polaris has also been pushing the boundaries of innovation and exploration into what a side-by-side can actually be and the different ways we can use them. Their latest example of this innovation is their all-new for 2024 XPEDITION Adventure. It's a new take on what a recreational side-by-side could be, and just in case you're wondering, it is beyond awesome. First, the XPEDITION Adventure NorthStar is awesome because underneath its cool SUV-like exterior and all those creature comforts lies a great handling, great riding, and pleasantly powerful sport side-by-side. Its arched double-arm front and rear suspension setups stretch out to 64 inches in width, yield 14 and 15 inches of travel, and allow for a total of 14 inches of ground clearance. A set of Fox Podium 2.0 QS3 shocks with position-sensitive spiral technology can be found at each corner and, when set to their fully soft position, provide one of the smoothest rides I've ever experienced in any sport or sport utility side-by-side. QS3 shocks are great because they're easy and straightforward to adjust. It's really hard to mess them up, but there's one major flaw with them here on the XPEDITION. I mean, it's not with the shocks themselves, but with how the right rear is positioned. The reservoir with the 3-position clicker is located way up here behind the exhaust header. Now this creates 2 major problems. First, there is a lot of heat generated in this general area, which is going to affect how the shock will perform. And second, there's a very real possibility you could burn yourself if you reach up to adjust the 3-position clicker. Polaris could and should include a specially tuned version of their dynamic system on the Ultimate and NorthStar versions of the XPEDITION. If that's going too far, they could also use Fox's IQS adjustment system for the shocks so that you never have to touch the adjuster knobs at all. Regardless of these issues, ride quality is so plush on big bumps, small bumps, and everything in between. The sensation you get from being this isolated from rough trails is almost confusing to your senses, but in the best possible way. The big cab with full rear enclosure and tall stance suggests that the Adventure will feel like it's going to have excessive body roll in the corners. But while it does have more than, say, a general, it in no way inhibits your ability to flat out rail corners as fast as you can. In fact, the harder I pushed this unit, the better it seemed to handle, giving me no cause for concern even in the tightest, highest speed twisties. Now let's talk about power. This is one area I think the XPEDITION could be improved. At 114 horsepower, it's not underpowered compared to other sport utility side-by-sides, but the Adventure NorthStar Edition is quite a bit heavier than anything else you might try and compare it to. There's a lot of mass to get moving, and while its top speed is more than acceptable, and while it will spin its tires, it just feels a bit sluggish. I'd like a version of this vehicle with closer to 130 horsepower. I think that would be pretty much perfect. Obviously, like all Polaris NorthStar models, this one has every bell and whistle you can possibly imagine, but it also has some you may not have thought of. Its full cab is fully sealed to keep out dust and water. With that said, we found the tip-out windshield didn't seal tightly enough at the top when it was closed and would let drips of water through when it got really soaked. Because the cab is fully sealed, the HVAC system does a great job with heating and cooling. In my walk-around video, I listed this as having an automatic climate control function, which it doesn't, but it does have multi-zones just like in your SUV, which is truly awesome. The 7-inch Ride Command display does all the stuff Ride Command usually does, and also includes all the extras you get with Ride Command Plus. It also controls the absolutely ridiculous JBL Trail Pro 4100 stereo with subwoofer. 30-inch Pro Armor Crawler XP tires are wrapped around 15-inch aluminum wheels. Now this is not a square setup. The fronts are 10 inches wide, while the rears are 11 inches wide, which I think is weird and kind of annoying. Does 1 inch really make that much of a difference? It's a question as old as time. A 4,500-pound Polaris winch with synthetic cable and magnetic auto-stop fairlead is tucked neatly behind the front bull-style bumper, and a nice interior rear-view mirror rounds out the NorthStar package. The windshield includes a wiper with spray function. The rear appears to have the mounts for it, but it really should come standard on the top-of-the-line NorthStar model. I also think a set of folding side view mirrors would be a huge bonus. Like your big SUV at home, this thing is really hard to see behind when you're backing up. A backup camera is included, and that's really nice, but the side view mirrors are conspicuous in their absence. The cargo bed doesn't dump, but does have Lock and Ride Pro mounts on both side rails. Just like your SUV, the rear seats fold down to create an increase in cargo space that's big enough to accommodate a good-sized air mattress if you're out camping and want to sleep off the ground in the safety and comfort of a fully enclosed cab. The rear seat bottoms also flip up to increase the cargo area behind the front seats when the seat backs are up, making this an extremely versatile utility vehicle. After spending a lot of time driving Polaris's 2024 XPEDITION Adventure 5-seat NorthStar, I can honestly say this is the most comfortable I've ever been in a side-by-side. But it's not just because of the fully enclosed cab or the heat and air conditioning or the incredibly smooth ride. It's the combination of all of the Adventure's features that make driving it so enjoyable. Like your SUV, the XPEDITION Adventure is functional, useful, and comfortable. But unlike your SUV, it can also be railed through the trails, smash through mud holes, and even catch some air if you're so inclined. Is this the most versatile side-by-side we've ever come across? That's really up for you to decide. But what I can say with 100% confidence is this: there's never been a side-by-side that I can see fitting in with my lifestyle better than this one.